Hello my YouTube friends and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing a little health update and I'm also going to be talking about what I eat now. So some of you might remember that about a year and a half ago my health completely crashed and I decided to stop being vegan. And since then I have made a lot of progress in my both energy levels and mental health and just health overall. However, I've had some setbacks as well. So in this video I'm just gonna kind of talk about what's been going on with me over the last year and a half in terms of my health and my diet. So one of my main issues that caused me to leave veganism was my terrible digestive problems. I would have chronic diarrhea, be on the toilet several times per day. I was always bloated and I had cramps and it just felt like there was a balloon inflated inside of me and I could feel the pressure, like there was pressure coming from the inside pushing out on my stomach, and it was extremely uncomfortable. And through experimenting over the past year and a half, I found that really the worst culprits for that have been beans, lentils, soy, grains, nuts, starches to some extent. But when I first stopped being vegan, I didn't actually cut out any of those foods really, except for like beans and lentils, because I always knew that I couldn't really handle those. But while I was vegan, I was eating a shit ton of them because, you know, like protein, right? And suffering for it. And so with that, my digestion gradually started to improve. And the other main thing that I was concerned about was I have an autoimmune skin condition called psoriasis, and it was super flared up during my health crash. It was like all over my hands. I was getting new patches on different parts of my body and it just felt out of control. And that actually didn't improve once I stopped being vegan. So I stopped being vegan in April of 2018, and it wasn't until the summertime, so I think in July, I started on this starch elimination diet. So basically I was eating non-starchy vegetables, so like lettuce, broccoli, just like the green ones, right? And meat, but I was still eating eggs. Yeah, I was eating eggs as well, but no dairy. So that was my, and small amounts of fruit. So that was my diet, and I was attempting to heal my psoriasis. And I did make some progress with that. I made a video, I made a video earlier this year or last year or whatever. No, it was last year, showing that my skin was getting better. However, after 5 years of being vegan, and while I was vegan, I didn't feel like I was like mentally really restricting myself from eating a variety of foods, like non-vegan foods, obviously. But when I got on this starch elimination diet, which it's pretty strict, like you can only eat meat, vegetables, and like a cup of blueberries per day, ideally, like that's what you were supposed to eat. I couldn't sustain it because of my mental state. Like I just felt too restricted. I couldn't control myself. And so basically for the past year, I've been going through like a mental refeeding of just random foods that I didn't allow myself to eat for 5 years while I was vegan. And I'm talking like not healthy foods either. Like I would be eating chocolate croissants at school, like the coffee shop at school like has these amazing bakery things, or I would go out for ice cream with one of the kids that I tutor, or like I would go home for holidays or just like to visit my parents, and my mom would have like cinnamon rolls, and I just needed to go through a period of time where I just allowed myself to eat everything or just anything that I wanted. It was really an interesting experience because, like I said, while I was vegan, I didn't really feel, up until the very end, I'd say probably the last 3 months of being vegan, I definitely wanted to eat things that weren't vegan, like eggs and fish. But for the first, 4.5 years of being vegan, like I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything, which was really interesting because when I finally stopped being vegan and gave myself the permission to eat non-vegan things, yeah, I just had I just needed a year of like mentally refeeding on all of the things that I didn't allow myself to eat. So it's been a real challenge for me over the last year because I've really wanted to heal my psoriasis and get that under control, yet at the same time, I just wasn't mentally strong enough to, again, be restrictive in a different way, even though it was for my health. I just wasn't able to stick to the autoimmune protocols that, you know, I read have been able to heal psoriasis. However, I finally got to the point at the end of August this year where I was like, all right, I've had enough ice cream, I've had enough croissants, I've had enough donuts, I've had enough pizza. I think I'm ready to actually focus on healing my skin now that I've like spent a year refeeding unrestricted. I was ready. So I decided to go on a experimental carnivore diet to see if it would help my skin. And I did it pretty perfectly, like almost perfect for 6 weeks. And I did see major improvements in my skin. So like when I'm in a flare-up state, the skin on my elbows and my knees will be like red and itching and flaking. Whereas when I'm in a healing state, like if I'm in a healing state, the patches will start to shrink. They won't be red and they won't be itchy. So while I was doing carnivore, it was definitely in a healing state. And I was really like happy with the progress I was making. But then in the middle of October, I went to Calgary for like 4 days to visit my friend, Natalie. And, you know, when I went, I was just like, I just want to be a normal person. Like we always used to drink wine and have cheese together. And like, I just want to be a normal person and enjoy myself and just have a fun weekend and not worry about like being perfect with my diet. So I did that, and it ended up sending me back into another flare. I mean, like I ate really poorly that weekend. Like I ate all the things. And it definitely sent me into a flare. And I pretty much undid all the progress that I had done in the previous 6 weeks of being a strict carnivore. But that's okay, because now I know that it does work. And what I'm planning on doing is starting over again in January. I'm gonna really try to give it 3 solid months of strict carnivore, and at least 1 month, no, like 3 months. And I wanna see what happens. I wanna see if I can get rid of it completely. I'm not gonna bother starting between now and the holidays because again, like I just wanna go home and like eat the food my mom makes, have desserts, I wanna have wine, I just want to be normal and enjoy myself. Like after years of having these like restrictions, I just want to have a normal holiday. So that's what I'm going to do, even though like I'll, you know, not make progress with my skin. That's okay. All right, so now I want to talk about what I'm eating now and like what I found over the last year and a half just works the best for my digestion. So I found that eating mostly meat actually is the best for my digestion. However, when I did do strict carnivore for 6 weeks, I did find that I would get a little bit constipated. Like I would go a day sometimes without having a bowel movement. And I don't know, that just doesn't feel right to me. It just doesn't feel good. However, when I eat more than just like 1 to 2 servings of vegetables, I will start having not diarrhea, but like looser stools. Like it won't be Am I really talking about this on YouTube? Yes, I'm doing it again. It just won't be optimal. So what I found is that works the best for my body is to have 2 meals per day. One of those meals is just meat, and the other meal will be meat plus like 1 serving of cruciferous vegetables. So that might be like a cup and a half of Brussels sprouts or cabbage or broccoli. Those I found are the best. And yeah, that's been working really well for me. I also sometimes have like coconut products. I'll also have like apples and blueberries, but not very often. But basically my diet now is consisting of mostly meat, small amounts of vegetables, small amounts of fruit, and I like to have like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of honey every day. Like after my dinner, I just like still have that lingering sweet tooth. So I just like to have raw honey like as dessert for a treat. Anything more than just like a really small amount of fruit or vegetables will start giving me digestive issues again, and I'll start getting bloated, I'll start getting gurgly and just unpleasant symptoms again. And the things that I absolutely stay away from, like I don't think I've touched a bean or a lentil in like a year and a half. Like you could just not pay me to eat that stuff anymore. Just sometimes like I still follow a lot of my vegan friends on Instagram, and when I see their food, sometimes like, and it's just all like beans or whatever, like my insides just like recoil from it. Like I just cringe. I'm just like, no, I have PTSD from lentils, okay? Oh, and there's something interesting about my cravings that I kind of wanted to mention, like since leaving veganism, and I'm curious whether anybody who's watching this who was vegan and now isn't, let me know in the comments if you experienced this as well. So when I stopped being vegan, like the things that I've been craving the most were like super like fatty types of meat, and then also like stuff with connective tissue. Like for example, like I'm always like craving like chicken legs and like the skin. So like the skin of the animal, and then like, this is gonna sound weird, but like, you know, like the cartilagey part on top of like in the joint of like the chicken leg. Like I've just really craved like cartilage and skin and like fat. I think that I was just really missing those things in my diet when I was vegan. So yeah, I've just been eating a lot of like chicken legs. Like I'm no interest in like skinless, boneless chicken breast. Like I want the legs with the skin. I've been eating a ton of ribs and a lot of steak and a little bit of salmon, but mostly like, yeah, mostly my diet has been ribs, steak, and chicken legs. And I have gotten a lot of questions about like, what has it been like mentally transitioning, and how did I like get over the guilt, and just a lot of like ex-vegan questions. So I'm gonna actually make a separate Q&A video addressing all of these things. Like somebody asked me if I regretted being vegan, and yeah, I got some really good questions on Instagram, so I'm gonna make a separate video addressing all those types of questions. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.